4.
18.
2, 3, 4.
And then the top one.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Oh.
Ever feel like you're being watched? Just a little. They're gonna catch it from all angles.
I know. I know, everyone's
Just sliding down the table. Not here to discuss any of that crap. What we're here to discuss is how we really are dealing with coronavirus. Like, as humans, personally, no affiliation to party, just what am I doing? What are they doing? And how do we manage day-to-day life on the coronavirus and with it in our lives? There's a million places to start. Open forum. What's the first thing somebody changed?
Well, I mean, first of all, we are being responsible here. The 4 of us that you see here all live in the same house. So Austin is practicing social safe distancing. He's 6 feet away from all of us. So he joined us to shoot a few things, and that's why we're in a unique position where we can still keep on shooting. Mark Cuban said something that I loved. He was saying that there is always an opportunity in everything. Mm-hmm. And if you can look at it with the way of responsible and yet hunting for the possibilities. We're essentially a production house. We're 5 roommates in Los Angeles. All of us are serving night jobs, but all of those have gone away because we're all at restaurants, and we're still getting, with the stimulus thing, we're still getting, you know, unemployment that covers all of our bills. And for Fanword, it's like, this is actually, as long as we stay smart, this is almost like being in an incubator in Silicon Valley, where you go and you're just doing nothing but all day, every day. Gabe, Olivia?
I am a host at KTLA. I do interviews for like actors, musicians, directors, things like that. And it's been interesting kind of switching to talking to people only via Skype and and so my interviewing has definitely slowed down, but we're kind of changing the way we do things and doing it via Skype and Zoom and things like that.
Me, even just with working with Fanword and being that we do the night jobs, we're so interactive with customers and people. We're all building these relationships in a really, you know, face-to-face. And now seeing when people are separated, but we have this deep need for connection, and it's so important to us, and finding these just new ways to connect again and really show you care, because like, you know, there is, you know, you have all this politics, you know, the politics and business, but then here are the people, the employees, you know, your customers, you know, they've now becoming family. What is the most valuable thing? And it's one, how people feel, your relationships to them, but really how you communicate in times like this. As you're watching people communicating from fear, and people are just being really hurt by it. We all really need each other, you know?
No.
I mean, I also think on like a point of self-reflection and other places, it's a great time to build like habits and like solidify who you want to be after this is all done. Come out stronger, whether it's building like a new skill or something in yourself. That's like the point I've been working.
Gabe's a new addition to Fanword, by the way. So he's 2 months in, and this is a crash course.
I know, I'm like
editing 10 hours a day.
They're like, oh, we're gonna put you in slowly. They're like, you know what? Take a vlog. And I'm like, oh, okay. But it's good. I'm loving it. It's great. So.
But you're in Dallas. So what's going on in Dallas?
Yeah, Dallas, I mean, Dallas, like so many, just about everywhere else in the country, I mean, it's on lockdown. Restaurants, bars, public gatherings, any of that stuff, all shut down. I mean, you can get takeout at a restaurant. I mean, even the park at my son's school. We just got the email last week that they're out now for the rest of the year. And we've been homeschooling them already for 3 weeks, so there's something we definitely had to change. And thank goodness my wife is she wants to be home with the kids. That's what she loves to do. We went from having never homeschooled to immediately full-time for 2 students. And we're not done until they graduate. It's kind of a walk down memory lane for me, because I mean, my son, he's 9. He's 4th grade, and he came home the other day talking about, Dad, I have to measure angles. I was like, wait, what? In 4th grade, I was working out long division, you know, like maybe.
Well, we were talking about that yesterday. What they're teaching kids earlier and younger now.
It's crazy.
Only did it this year because they knew that the parents would have to take over and the teachers didn't have to do it. They're like, you know what? We're going to give them a whole new curriculum. Perfect.
They sent, and the first week of homeschooling, all of the parents rebelled. You know, number one, it was shock and awe, you know, literally. But the next complaint was the education was set on so many different. You had to go to this website and that website and this website and that link and this link. And it was like, can we just put it in one spot?
Yeah, there's a hilarious meme. Teachers on the first day of homeschool, go to the Zoom app and log into your mom and go to this thing and that thing. And parents are just like, what?
The course load was insane. And so everybody sent in these mass emails, and the next week they're like, it was maybe a bit much. Yeah. And because, you know, they came out strong, trying to make sure nobody misses anything. Homework for days. And yeah, it quieted down a little after that. They took some course load off, streamlined a few things, and now we only sometimes want to kill ourselves. So it's better.
Do you think that teachers should be making $1 million a week?
That was one of the first comments that I made to my wife. I said, babe, tell me right now that these people who are building the next generation and have been throughout time, tell me they shouldn't be getting paid more for this. And doing it with limited resources. The resources that they don't have access to, still having to make it happen in a classroom full of 22, 30, you know, children, having to get through to each of them. I'll tell you one of the things I have noticed, though, is that my son's ability to learn, obviously with one-on-one instruction, because I can go in after every assignment. I'm like, don't hit submit until I review. And my wife does the same thing with our other little one. And this week she's doing both because I'm here. But it's review. So there's review and there's detail. And there's time that we have to put into all of each of their assignments that a teacher with 22 to 30 to 35 kids can't possibly do it. So they're stuck between a position of teaching to maybe the middle denominator, because they can't get to the lowest denominators. The highest denominators will fend for themselves. Right. Yeah, so they've got to teach to that median. And then if the little guys or the lower denominator folks don't pick up, here's your grade, you know, or maybe extra curriculum, depends on the teacher. So I have the utmost respect, but I'm also really glad because I think right now a lot of Americans are getting a view of what homeschooling is, and that it's not this ethereal thing that only Catholic families or Jewish families or, you know, extreme religious families do to isolate themselves. It really is a viable option for incredible education, and all of our sons' grades are going through the roofs. They're doing great. So even though it's added stress as a family, and I'm not a two-person working family, it's just me working in my family. So, you know, I'm not two people at home versus some of you guys, you know, who maybe everybody works. I don't know. The strains are different on everybody in America, but I'm beginning to see the value in both sides, and I couldn't be more appreciative of it.
Multiple times when you look at beyond this, that so many people are going, the world will never be the same again, and most of it's going to be positive changes. I've called Verizon 3 times. The customer reps are so much nicer because they're sitting in their home.
Oh.
So like the first lady I talked to, I was like, hey, how are you doing this Corona thing? She goes, oh, I'm pretty good. My son's sitting right here. I'm like, oh, you guys are all home? She goes, yeah, Verizon came and installed all like units at home. They can still monitor everything we do, but their whole energy was just so much more pleasant and communicative. And I'm going, why would Verizon like keep their call centers open?
And the overhead that goes with it.
So your customers are more satisfied. I've talked to 4 different Verizon reps, 2 on the business side, 2 on the personal side. All of them were so easygoing, so nice, so communicative, and with all of them, we talked about something not Verizon for the first 5 minutes.
It's amazing to be able to do the remote. Like, we've learned like the different ways you can do stuff, and he's been able to spend time with his family and do things with them.
That's the other thing. Miguel is editing, and we've had to set him up with remote editing.
One, the overhead, it's just interesting how these companies with the overhead, like how that may change. The personal obligations we put on our, you know, people put as parents are all these like stresses, and then they get to be home with their families and work out of their offices, and it's like, what was all the stuff I was putting on myself?
You know, I think maybe that's the way it was really originally intended to be. Before we had, you know, 16 cameras, 35 lights, and, you know, travel back 100 years, 200 years, and, you know, everybody was working in the field, on the farm. Cities were, you know, really, we had some big cities, but most everybody was farming and working, and they came home and they gathered around the table. They ate meals together.
How many meals have we all eaten together?
And meals made at home, they ate together. You know, today it's, you know, oh man, I don't feel like cooking, or I don't have time. How many times How many times have we all said, I don't have time?
Yeah, a lot.
But we don't have time because we have deliberately packed ourselves so full of things to do. And all of these things we do, every time we add something on the plate, what we're so used to adding, we're not thinking of what we have to take away to do it. And I think coronavirus has put us in a place where it's stripped us down closer to really what's needed versus what's wanted. And I think that's a big difference. So, you know, seeing the way that teachers are working, I'm working out with my son now. So he's got this PE program, so does my 5-year-old Jackson. So Connor and Jackson, they have, you know, their weekly obligation for PE. And the PE that they send, guys, it's like it comes on a bingo form. And, you know, if you do certain ones, you get bingo in a row. And one could be like, I don't even know what it was, like 2 minutes of something, of dancing to your favorite song. Okay, I call that, it's not even a warm-up.
Yeah.
That's not even a warm-up. That's like, your heart doesn't even really get going in 2 minutes. At least I hope it doesn't. So, you know, and then another one was just so not physical education.
Yeah.
And so I took my son out in the garage, and we have free weights, and you know, we have martial arts practice. When I've been working with him a little on some Wing Chun and sticky hands, and those of you that are martial artists, you get that. And just teaching him, you know, proper body posture for lifting. And,
we're going to be doing a video on Wing Chun, by the way. Austin's going to be doing a video on Wing Chun.
Oh, okay. All right.
I forgot to tell him. We made that note the other day. He was explaining it to us, and it's super cool. So if I can talk him into it, we're going to do a video on Wing Chun.
I was doing an impromptu lesson on basic strike fighting last night, and somebody's confidence went way through the roof. Names shall remain a mystery for now, but you might meet her later. So anyway, yeah, so that's been really cool. And when I talk to him about lifting weights, I'm like, don't lift like dudes. Dudes lift with their ego. I hate, because my mom was a semi-pro lifter, and she taught me. And but my dad was overseas, and she was home with me. So that's how she had that time with me. And now that I'm home, because conventions, I mean, everything I do for work is essentially shut down. Conventions, gone. Filming, with the exception of this, where we're all very cautious of our distancing, filming is non-existent.
No, this only worked because all of us that film you live already together. So it's not like bringing a bunch of people together and then splitting us all apart.
Right, and I just have to, you know, keep my distance. So, but I have this time with my kids, and I can start, you know, doing that with them, and I love it. And my 9-year-old's like, Dad, I want to have better abs than, you know, this guy down the street. Cute. I'm like, okay, well, you can work out for days, but if you're not eating right, I was like, welcome to the world of proper nutrition. And
also, that's the lessons you're teaching that they don't have the time to maybe teach in school. Like, you're teaching these things, like
that, like it's so cyclical. Like we were talking about The Game Changer. I don't know if anybody's seen that documentary, but the thing that nothing is independent. So the thing that will get him abs is the same thing that will help protect him against coronavirus, because the immune system is boosted. There's nothing that is separate from each other, and I think that's what the thing that is really coming to light. The full circle of life does not apply in a world of technology. Like, just because we're advanced, whatever, not.
Yes, so everything has to be at a place, in science they call it homeostasis. And if you can't find that balance, the body has to be in homeostasis. Life, energy, all these things we add on or take away need to not take us out of that balanced place. So that's kind of the first bit, the first piece on coronavirus that we wanted to chat about. We're going to do a couple other pieces where we will be talking more on coronavirus and how it's affected our lives, and probably your lives too in some way or form. And we will go from there, man. So thanks.